Hey there, it's Jillian, your guide to all things joy, and welcome to the Joy Journey podcast. In this episode today, I chat with social media strategist and event wizard, Jen Kinal. We discuss Jen's journey through entrepreneurship, the importance of joy in business, and the lessons learned from burnout and letting go of commitments that no longer serve. It's a really good glimpse inside the truth about business. Jen shares her experiences around pivoting, the P word that we no longer want to use because we've all done it way too much, and shares about how she moved from event planning to social media management during the panty, emphasizing the need for self-care as well as the joy of creating without pressure and expectations. In this convo, Jen and I explore the journey of entrepreneurship and how joy needs to be prioritized if we want to experience sustainable success. This is a gooder, you guys. I can't wait for you to sit back, relax, and dive in. Enjoy. Hey there, it's Jillian, your guide to all things joy, and this is the Joy Journey podcast. Hello and welcome to the Joy Journey podcast, where joy is an inside job. I'm your host, Jillian Shecker, and today I'm so excited to introduce you to Jennifer Kinal, also known as my bracelet sister. We'll talk about that later. Before we dive in more, I'm really excited to share a little bit more about Jennifer. So, do you go by Jen or Jen Kinal? Jen or Jennifer?
Jen.
Okay, I thought so. And in your bio, it was like Jennifer. I was like, okay, we're getting profesh here.
I don't know. I always write it as Jennifer, and then I always introduce myself as Jen.
Okay, good. I'm glad I asked. Okay.
Sorry.
Just getting real. I love it. Okay. And I know you use Jen too, so that's perfect. Okay. So Jen Kinal is a social media strategist, a marketing expert, and an event consultant, helping businesses grow with confidence. As the owner of a social media agency, she supports businesses in showing up online with purpose, crafting strategic content and marketing campaigns that align with their business goals and community. Beyond social media, Jen helps entrepreneurs create impactful events that strengthen their brand, build deeper connections, and drive business growth. With a passion for authentic marketing and community building, she empowers businesses to stand out, connect, and scale with intention. Welcome, Jen.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so excited. I already have cheek cramps. We were talking a little bit before we started. So we've been giggling away, planning lots of beautiful things. And I think I always like to start out with how we know each other.
Oh my gosh.
Do you remember when we first met?
No. How did we first meet? I don't remember.
So we met at Selena's conference in 2019. What was it called back then?
The Money Boss Live.
Money Boss Live. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Who's that?
And I think you were like, yeah, you were like, my husband or
yeah,
I don't know how.
You do.
I do know her husband. We worked at Earl's together years ago. He's the funniest. John,
Small world.
You're the bomb.
You're going to love that.
You're the bomb. I still think about those days and laugh so hard. Yeah. So I remember meeting you then. And then it just feels like I've just watched you. Well, we'll talk about this on the show, pivot quite a lot, actually. Lots of courageous pivots, lots of expansion, and just really watching you shift and expand and show up so authentically and just, finding your path, but in this really beautiful way. You have a lot of gifts. It's clear. And I have sought out your support previously. I remember you helped me a little bit with social media for a while there. Oh, you were doing social media audits.
Yeah, that's when I first pivoted.
Yeah, that was so fun.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that. And then Jen and I met again, in person at Cara Cotter's opening of her store in St. Albert. And we ended up getting these permanent jewelry bracelets, which I love. And we both set our intentions together, and we've been calling ourselves bracelet sisters ever since. And smashing goals. And since then, you've had a conference, the Be Bold conference. We'll talk more about that. I've just really witnessed you stand so bravely and authentically in who you are and share and shine. And I'm really excited for what gets to happen next. So I'm so happy you're here today.
Oh, that was the sweetest intro. Thank you.
And that wasn't even an intro.
Well, it kind of was. But I think that we met I guess 2019, but I feel like we've just been woven in each other's lives since then. And it's just, I'm glad we like fully kind of came back and became bracelet sisters. And yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too. Me too. Like, I feel like there's so much here. This is just the beginning, Jen.
Mhm.
Jenny, that's what I want to call you. Okay, so so I think what I'd like to talk about, well, maybe why don't you share a bit about like what you're up to, and then we'll dive into like the joy journey and what that's looking like for you. But I think maybe let's start with present day. Like, where are you at right now, and what is life and business looking like for you right now?
Holy, that is a loaded question. Okay.
I didn't even
Life and
plan that
business.
one.
I know that one, that's a load. Like that could go anywhere, anywhere. Um, right now I own a social media agency, which is amazing. I get to work from home. It was something that it was a pivot that came from COVID. And I just decided, you know what, I'm building a new business that is pandemic proof and allows me to work from anywhere and also brings in that recurring revenue. So I built that and I really, really love it because I have such incredible clients. I have incredible freedom. I have the ability to be creative, which is something that like my soul just really needs.
Yeah.
And I'm always dreaming of like, what's the next thing? What's the next like thing that I can tackle? I think it's probably my inner like creative juices always need to like keep going and getting more things and like creating
Yeah.
and dreaming up and designing things. So I don't know. That's kind of where
Yeah.
I'm at.
Okay, so that's where you're at right now, but there are really fun things. So
Yes.
let's talk about lessons. Let's just talk about your joy journey. And I think what I'd like to know is like what is the biggest lesson that you've learned recently or maybe that you're even currently learning?
I think the biggest lesson is because I am a dreamer, I am always adding to my plate because I want to keep doing all these cool things. Like I just love being able to create things. And the hard part with that is that also comes with you just get burnt out and you just can't keep up to all of the things you want to do. And I'm really just like learning how to enjoy my business and not constantly put more on top of myself to create and dream and be really appreciative of what I've built and where I'm going.
I love that. Like a dreamer to dreamer, it's a challenge. It's a
Hmm.
challenge, as I would call it.
Hmm.
But I feel like I really identify with you when you talk about that. And I wonder if anyone listening can feel that, like where it's like you have so many dreams, so many things that you want to do that you're perpetually in a state of doing,
Yeah.
which
And there's
doesn't really
no being
honor.
calm.
Yeah. Right? It
Yeah.
doesn't honor our energy as, as these beautiful creatives. But it also, what I have found is it doesn't honor the energy of the projects that we're working on because it never really allows for you to steep in the creation or in the completion of things,
Hmm.
in the celebration of things, and then the dreaming from a space of overflow instead of depletion.
Yeah, exactly. I do
So,
find that you have to protect yourself. And that's one thing I've learned right now is that I am constantly evaluating before I move forward with something if this is the right direction for me personally and like my mental health, my everything to make sure that I don't overdo it again.
right. So you've experienced burnout.
Oh, yes.
What's your most recent experience of burnout?
I would say so. It happened this winter just before Christmas. I just felt like I just was so exhausted. I was having a hard time just getting up for the day. And like by 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock, I would be like done. Like my energy was gone. I just had nothing left. For me, going on vacation is like, it just renews my soul. And so I went on vacation and I was coming up to New Year's. So you're like, okay, what are we going to plan for the next year? And I didn't want to remove anything. I had a really hard time with removing things that I love because they're my babies that I've created, right? Like my dreams. So came back and I felt better from being on vacation, but then went right back into like being exhausted again. And
Right.
that's kind of when I realized that I needed to look at what those things that I was holding so dear that I couldn't let go. I needed to make a change. So that's when I actually decided I had a community called the Bold Founders. And I just said, you know what, as much as I love this community, I just can't keep pouring into it when I had nothing to pour into anymore. Like I had nothing left to give. And so I had to let that go. And as hard as that decision was, and as hard as it was to tell the members that I'm not going to do it anymore, It was really the best thing for me because my energy has come back. I'm taking care of myself a little bit better too, but
Yeah.
I just feel so much better, and I don't want to go back to that. So I'm really careful now about what I allow to come in.
I have full shivers. I just want to celebrate you. I even feel emotional because we all know what it's like to have something that you love so much, but it maybe is actually not healthy. It's not helping. It's like taking, actually. And it's not in the energy with which it was intended, but it's still something you love that was really, really powerful. So
Mhm.
I think that's so courageous to say, I'm going to stop this, even though it was maybe a big component of the business. Yeah, it was a big component of your business.
Yeah, it
And
was.
like really realizing that service isn't service if it's in sacrifice. Like this is a lesson that I've also had to learn and I find like relearn because that desire to give as healer, helpers, nurturers is so strong, but it's not helpful if it's at the expense of ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's a really big deal. And so what I'd like to know, because I think for anyone who's listening, if you've got something in your life or business which feels like it's taking or it's like depleting you, that's really important to listen to. And we want to start to listen before it becomes a loud brick or boulder. We want to listen to the feathers moments, right? So
Yeah.
can you share with us now where you're at, like what this looks like on the other side of releasing something that felt really like you wanted to hang on but knew it was time to let go? Now what does life and business look like for you?
As a result of me letting that community go, it actually really helped me focus more in on my agency, which is it brings me a lot of joy. But I think when you are so busy and overworked and burnt out, you lose a little bit of that joy. And I remember having to constantly remind myself, you love doing this. Like, this is like you love just sitting there and creating and thinking up with marketing plans. And as much as I did, I just didn't also have the energy. And so now it's been really quite fun to be able to create the marketing plans for my clients without having additional stress on myself. Like with the community, as much as I loved it, I put a lot of pressure on myself to make it great. Right. And a
Hmm.
lot of pressure that I would almost in my head be like, well, are they liking it? Do they like what this next speaker? Like, just a lot of, it's all me putting the pressure all on myself. It's none of like my community because my
Yeah.
community was telling me they loved it. But just removing that pressure and giving myself space to breathe just really allowed me to enjoy my main business, which is the agency.
Yeah. Okay. I love that. Let's talk about pivots. Okay. Let's take us a few steps back. Let's talk about the P word.
There's a lot of pivots.
But let's talk about them. And then it feels like we're going to be pulling some pieces together that are really, really powerful pieces. So share with us what 2019, 2020 looked like for you and like where were you and where did things go? And then we'll get to present day again.
Okay, so at that point, I had my event planning company, which I had had since 2006. And so it was well established. I had incredible, like I was full for weddings. I had Christmas parties that they constantly booked with me every single year. So I always knew that I always had like my summer income and my winter income, which was amazing because I was just booked and I was getting like so booked that previous brides would refer me to their current, like their friends, and then their friends would book me. And so it was just this awesome business. And then COVID happened and it was like gone. Like the government's like, no, you can't get together, which means that everything got shut down. And then you didn't know how long it was going to be shut down for. And then maybe it would open up next year. So let's replan your whole wedding next year. Some people moved venues. Then we really had to replan everything. Some people didn't get married at all. Some people like moved outdoors from an indoor venue. Like I just remember it's almost like you worked triple because you had to
Yeah.
replan everything so many times. And I just didn't know when that was going to come back. And so by the time the first year was done, I was like, I can't keep waiting. Like
Yeah.
that means I have no income. I'm not contributing to my household. I'm not helping out my family. There's a lot of weight on my husband to be the moneymaker in our home. And
Yeah.
just needed to build something else. And so I just decided that's it. I'm going to lean on what my superpowers are. And at that time, I had a really incredible coach and incredible women that were within that coaching community that were supporting me. So thank goodness, because they also really helped me see where my strengths are, because sometimes we just
Yeah.
don't see it. I created my social media company at that time because it was just me, which then later Pip turned into the agency because now there's a couple of us. Yeah. So that was like the crazy pivot of trying to figure out like what you can do.
Yes. Okay. So what did the pivot look like? You started
The
so
pivot
like because
does not
I
look so
remember you
pretty.
did
Yeah.
look like snot
It's not
bubbles is what it looked like.
yeah, it's not like,
Snot
"Okay, I
bubble
pivoted
crying.
and happily ever after." No, there was a ton of tears, a
Yeah.
ton, and, trial and error. Like, I had built my marketing for my event planning business, and I really
Yeah.
loved we didn't even have Reels, I think, then. But I really loved video content. And so I was already creating video content for that because you can capture so much more with your video than you ever could with photos. So I would
Yeah.
have a photographer come in, I would have a videographer come in. So I already had that side for marketing for businesses. And then I
Yeah.
also, being the creative soul that I am, I was also a fashion influencer who also used
Oh,
video.
okay.
um, so I knew the whole side of like actually using Instagram to grow your following, to monetize it, to create campaigns and collaborations and partnerships. So I knew that whole side of it. And then there was just the side where I just loved listening to all of the like podcasts and blogs and everything you possibly could to get as much information as you could. And so I just felt like I've already done it for so many different areas. Like, let's create a social media management company because I wanted to build a business that one focused on my superpowers, that things that I could do, but also was pandemic proof, provided reoccurring revenue, and I could do it from anywhere. Because
Yeah.
in the event industry, you can't. You're working all summer and all Christmas, and you're missing like those big times with your family, right? So that was really
Yeah.
important that I built that freedom in.
I want to talk about social media actually. Like, I want to get some good nugs from you, social media wise, but I
Okay.
also want to know about the iterations of this company. I want to
Yeah.
know about the growth from, because I remember I hired you for an audit. That was at the very beginning where you're like, surprise, I do social media now. And I'm like, holy shit, okay, do mine. Let's like check in and see what this looks like. Cause
Yeah.
I just loved that audit idea. So you started with that and then it kind of grew. So like, I want to hear like about the beginning and then where,
Yeah.
because you did a pivot within that as well.
Mhm. I think a few pivots within that. So I think I might have started with the social media audit then. So I would go in and people would hire me to review their social media and I would give them suggestions on how they can like update it and make it better. And so that would include like your profile picture, your bio, your username, hashtags, photos that you could potentially use. Like here's the inspiration board of what your branding could look like, right? Based on what we've talked about, your goals. It was all came back to like, what do you want from your social media? Now let's build what your social media could look like based on your brand and your goals and what your audience wants from you. And so
Mm.
that was the social media audit. And then that converted into the social media management where I had clients. This is the first iteration of it where I was like, I didn't fully feel confident in my pricing. And so when I was in the event industry, I'd be like, okay, if you want to work with me, here's the cost and here's my packages. And it was very detailed. And if anyone ever asked me for a discount, I'd be like, nope, I don't do discounts because then I get resentful that I gave you a discount and I'm working for less and I'm taking time away from my family. Right. So I was really
Mhm.
strict on that. But when it came to the social media side, I just did not have the confidence. And so I charged like ridiculously cheap, like
Mm.
ridiculously.
Yeah.
And then I was full, but I was like, I'm working hours and
All the
hours and
time.
hours all the time, and I'm making barely anything. And that goes back to like, I'm taking time away from my family. That was really important to me. If I was going to rebuild and pivot, I wasn't going to build it in a way that
Serves
served what
you
I wanted.
and
Hmm.
serves your abundance. Okay. Anyone listening who's in sacrifice or over giving, over delivering, undercharging, keep listening. Okay, Jen, what happened next?
Keep listening because this is the hard part. Um,
Yeah.
so then I said, you know what? I need to increase my prices. And this was also like the same coach was amazing and guided me through this. And I was like, okay, I'm going to increase my prices. And I like, I don't know, 1,000 times increase my prices like to what they are now. And every single person said, I can't work with you anymore. I'm done. And so we went from like, it just was this cycle of like, no money, money, no money, no
Little
money.
feast and
And I was just
famine.
like, yeah. And I was like, oh my God, I just lost everybody. But at the same time, I was like, I couldn't keep going with those
Yeah.
people who were not paying me what I needed to be paid and what I was worth. And
Mhm.
so at that point, I was like, okay, I've already figured out what my packages look like because of those people. So even though they weren't paying me like the value that I feel like I'm worth, it was such a good learning experience for me to feel confident in where I am now. So I knew my packages, I knew what my pricing should be, and I just said, you know what, this is the pricing flat, and look flat and with ability to customize, right? But and I also knew from those people who I really liked working with and who I didn't really like working with, and so
Mhm.
I kind of dreamt up who my dream clients would be, and then I went and pitched them. I just like messaged them. And everyone that I messaged, I had already built a previous relationship with in my fashion influencing world because they were people that I collaborated with. So they already knew how much I loved their brand. They knew how much like I had shared it already on social. So they knew how I was using it and creating content for them. And so then I just pitched them and they said yes. And so that was like the birth of the new agency. And how it's come out to today. It's been like it's not a pretty pivot, but it wouldn't none of this would have happened without all these pivots.
Hey, Joy Warrior. Have you ever felt the quiet or maybe not so quiet nudge that you were meant to lead with more joy in your life, your work, or your world? If you've been craving more meaning, more connection, and a way to share your light while staying rooted in your joy, this is your invitation. The Joy Facilitator Certification Program is a 9-month journey to embodying and leading with joy from the inside out. You'll be trained in the joy method, learn how to facilitate transformative joy sessions, and walk away with the tools, confidence, and community to support others while staying anchored in your truth. Whether you're a coach, a leader, a healer in business or management, or simply someone who knows there's more joy to share, this program might just be calling your name. Doors are open now, and I'd love to walk this path with you if it feels like an F yes. Head to thejoysessions.com to learn more or book a connection call to see if this is the next aligned step on your journey. Let's raise the vibration together. Now back to the episode. Right. Okay. So you went out and got it. You
Yep.
literally like were identifying who your ideal soul client, I call them your ideal soul clients, right? You
Yep.
identified who your ideal soul clients were. You went out and literally invited them into your programs.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And at this
So
point, like they didn't like you said, I did this is the social media audit was like, by the way, I'm doing social media now. It was kind of like the same when I pitched them, but because they had worked with me, they were like, yep, this is a no-brainer for us.
yeah, it's amazing. Okay. So
Mm.
here's the thing. This energy of the people who you're seeking are actually all around you. I think it's really important for us to feel into. I know this with my facilitator program as well, is like oftentimes it's people who I like one time I did a clearing with my friend Elise and she was like, there's people around you. And she's like, who do you know is meant to be in it? And immediately 3 people came to mind. And I literally, not in like a pushy way or manipulative way or like icky way, because I'm all about like authentic sharing and inviting. But it was
Yep.
like, I actually reached out and said, hey, like, I want you to know that you came to mind for this. And that if this felt like a fit for you, I would love to have you in this container with us. And all 3 of them said yes. Like I said, all I said was, have you been thinking about this? Like, cause I was like, why am I thinking about you joining? Like, what is going on here? And they all were like, yes. And I said, okay, if this feels aligned, I just want you to know, like, I'd be so honored. And maybe it was that personal invitation. Maybe it was just that like connection, or maybe it was them knowing like, okay, like this, it does feel like a yes. But
Mhm.
that made it happen. So I think it's like, that level, like outreach I'm hearing based on your story as well is like authentic outreach is actually a really beautiful marketing
Well,
strategy.
and it feels beautiful to do it, right? Because you're
Yeah.
crafting an email or DM, however you're doing it, where you're saying, like, I know your business. I know everything about the ins and outs and the products, and I own multiple of your items, right? It's so authentic when you do it that way. And
Yeah.
the funny thing is, like you said, they're all around you already. Like the first one I reached out to, she was like, "We are actually looking for a social media manager right now. Like this is let's talk." And then
Yeah.
the other one, they were like, "Let me think about it." And they were with me within, I think it was a month. since that
Okay,
like
actually,
first
Jen,
reach
like
out.
quick download. I have someone for you. I actually know
Oh,
someone who needs your support. Yeah, a client.
okay.
Yeah. So anyway, mental note, remind me of that after. Uh,
Okay.
real time connections. But that's,
Fantastic.
you know, that's the other thing though. I think also like the new era of leadership in business is like so fluid and flowy and like easeful. And it's just like, I know you, I love you. I know this person. I know that they need, like, I just call it our medicine, the things that we're all doing. It's like, I know that
Yeah.
they need your medicine, you know, and like connect you up. And like, it gets to just be easy and aligned going forward.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So pivoted and then went and just shared. And at first that was lots of snot bubble tears and didn't look pretty. And then you're like, fuck it. Here's what I want instead. And you went after it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now it's like really successful and thriving. And it's your main business now.
Yeah. It's my main
Okay.
business. For a while, I was kind of dabbling. When events came back, I was kind of dabbling in both. And I was like, no, you know what? I'm just doing the agency. I'll take events here and there. Like I'll pick and choose them. But the agency is like, it's my favorite thing.
Okay. I love it. Okay.
Hmm.
Bookmark events. We're going to come back to that before we
Okay.
hop over to that topic. I want to hear about social media. I would love for you to share with our Joy community, like, what is one thing that you would recommend for busy business owners who maybe feel overwhelmed by social to make it easier or more achievable for them to be showing up online?
I think the most important thing with social media is to really think about what is your end goal with social media? Like, why are you on there? Because if you figure out what your why is, then you can build everything around that. You can build your content around that. It helps you to show up in a way that feels good, not like I should be doing this. So I think that's the number one thing that people need to do. And then the second is to have fun with it. Bring some joy into it because yeah, we should be on social media and it will help your business get more awareness. And like, even if someone comes, like if someone were to come to my event planning website and then they click the Instagram button, it's still there, but it hasn't been touched for years. So let's say I'm actually still active in that business. Does it look like I'm active? Probably
Mm,
not. Right. So even
right.
if you don't really want to do it, you should be somewhat active on there just to show that you're still around.
Okay. So do it in a way that feels good.
I think that if we can really focus in on the joy part of it, then we can start loving what we're doing and stop focusing on the strategy. And this is what I should be doing. And I should be posting this many reels a day. And I need to be on stories. Like it is important for people to see your face and to hear your voice and to understand like who you are because people don't buy businesses. They buy from the people that they feel aligned with. I would say those are the top three things that I think are really, really important when you're on social media. And so those aren't even strategies or anything because once you get into the strategies, if you don't have those figured out, it's just going to fall flat because you're going to be like, oh, it's another thing I have to do.
Okay. So to just wrap it all up, top 3 hottest tips that you recommend to busy business owners who might feel overwhelmed by social.
Okay, so number one, I definitely say, like, what is your goal with social media? Like, why are you showing up? And really use that to your advantage because once you know that, you can add that into all your content. Okay, the second one is going to be enjoy it, have fun with it. Because if you're showing up because you have to, it's going to show that you don't act like you're not enjoying it. The passion that you need for your energy and your voice is not going to come through. And then the final one is to like show your face. So, yes, you can show graphics and you can show behind the scenes, but people want to hear your voice. They want to hear your passion. They want to hear your excitement because people, they can buy from anybody. But what they do buy from is people that they're like fall in love with, who they align
Mm.
with, who they feel energetically matched with. So if you're not comfortable with showing your face, just give it a try, baby steps, because it really does make a huge difference in terms of if somebody chooses your business versus somebody else's.
Baby steps. And I just love it. I feel so aligned with you. And this is what I've always believed. And it's proven like people do connect with people, not businesses necessarily. It's not
Hmm.
like the company or the business. It's why personal branding is so powerful. So I would also say, like, for anyone who does feel like that is helpful or needs additional support, like, I think that you're such a beautiful champion for that. So definitely reach out to Jen for social media support. We'll definitely link you in the show notes for sure. Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So now let's swirl back to events because now, okay, social media agency, Bold Founders Group, decommit from that to make room for more. You had an amazing conference last year, the Be Bold conference.
Mhm. Yeah, it was
And I know
incredible.
because I was there. So it was so good, Jen. And I'd like for you to share because I witnessed this. There was a bit of a pivot there too, wasn't there?
Yeah, I swear, pivots just follow me around. They're just
Your
like,
middle name, Jen Pivot
let's see
Kinal.
what she can do. Yeah. Um, so I planned this conference and it was at the Whitewood Barn, which is this beautiful, huge venue that is just magical. I've done so many weddings there. The owners are incredible. Every time I go there, they've added something new. So actually, there's going to be something new already added for the next year, like this year's conference, like an upgrade that they did to the venue. So I just love them so much. And so I was like, okay, this is like, I'm not even looking anywhere else. This is the one place I want it to be because it's just so magical there. And the space fit 160 guests and like comfortably with the setup that I wanted. And I had a stage mapped out, DJs, photographers, and sometimes things just don't work out the way you planned. Actually, I feel like every time any entrepreneur is like, this is what's going to happen, there's always something that's going to be like, nope, we're going to do it this way instead. And so we had a little pivot there where we actually made it a smaller event, more intimate, which meant rejigging the entire budget to match that, right? So we changed it, removed the stage. We did remove the DJ. We did photography in-house, like it's lots of pivots, but honestly, it was the best thing that ever happened because the intimate experience from it was so powerful. Like we got to do things like we did a burning ceremony where everybody wrote on like a piece of paper what they wanted to burn, like something that was holding them back or whatever it was that they wanted. And then we got to go outside and burn it in an outdoor fire pit, like a fireplace. And everyone got to say like what it was and share with the group. And if it was 160 people, that's not possible. Right. And the conversations that we had within the tables would not have been possible. Like it was just so magical. So for this year going forward, I'm capping it again. We're keeping it nice and small. I just think there was so much incredible conversations and friendships and bonds because everybody got to hear from everybody. It was incredible.
Can I just share? So again, I was there and had the honor of being a speaker as well. And I feel like what I witnessed was it was a big event, like it was a big event to start with in terms of, I think it was also 2 days, was it not? 2 days?
Yeah, it was 2 days. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So it was 2 days. And what I love about this and you, Jen, is that you did pivot, you shifted, but instead of what I think most people might do, which might be cancel, you made it happen. And then so much magic ensued, right? So much magic. So, because I think a lot of people think, especially in business ownership, and I see this, with like training facilitators who maybe not as many people show up to your things, or it's not as successful as you wanted it to be. But I think it's
Mhm.
really seen how potent and powerful these things are, and that maybe it's not what you think it should be, but it's actually what it is meant to be, and it's divine and it's purposeful. Take it from the 2-day event to a 1-day event and super tight. Like it was such a beautiful group, powerful energy. We all got to connect in ways I don't think we would have if it was bigger. Yeah, I firsthand witnessed that. And you really inspired me that day because I think, especially when you're investing so much to make an event really special, it can be really scary when it's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be taking a hit or I can't do it. Or like you just go into fear. And what I saw you do instead of stepping into fear was step into possibilities.
Yeah, and I think that anytime I have stepped into possibilities and I like calling it stepping into possibilities instead of the pivot. Sounds way nicer. But
Better
as
keyword.
as hard as it is to go through those, it actually has always, always, always been something better. Something that I didn't dream of, something I didn't know was possible. So as much as originally, like I'd be like, this is the worst thing ever. Like, how can this keep happening to me? Now I'm like, I'm almost welcoming it because I'm like, okay, there's something else that I just can't see. And the word,
I love
the
that.
possibilities is what shows you what there
Yeah.
is, right? Like I'm not
Yeah.
going back to a bigger conference now. I like the small one. That was perfectly guided for me.
Yes, I love this. And in the manifestation work that I do, I always say this or better at the end, like this or better,
Mhm.
because the truth is, when we release our need to attach to what that outcome has to be, it gets to be beyond what we could even fathom. And that's what I witnessed at Be Bold last year. So let's talk about Be Bold this year. Why don't you share about the conference as much as you know, or as much as you feel like sharing? But I just think everyone needs to know about this because it's going to be magical.
Okay, so one of the things when I plan events is I really want them to be special, like all the way through. I feel like it's also my superpower that I like to think about the experience of the guest from the beginning to end. And this is probably the event experience for me, transitioning into like my own event. But last year we had these incredible books where we had vision boards and like they were so amazing. Everybody loved them. So this year I'm like, okay, what can I do that's different, but equally as cool, if not better? So we're still in the planning stages and like I can just promise you that something's going to be replacing it that's going to be super cool, right? Like
Okay.
something that you're just going to walk in and be like, oh, this is amazing. So yeah,
Yeah.
when you first arrive, the venue itself is absolutely incredible. It's just I can't say enough of it. And then when you get there, I'm a Starbucks fanatic, so I always find out what your favorite Starbucks drink is, and then I have it ready for you. So you can expect that. And then there's always going to be magic on the tables. The room is always going to be beautiful because I just love the decor aspect of it. There's food, there's cocktails, there is incredible speakers, which you are going to be one of them, which I'm so excited for. But we're going to really talk. Yeah, we're going to talk a lot about profit. We're going to talk about marketing and how we can get ourselves more out into the world and grow our businesses and also really be strategic about it. Like, how can we build our businesses so that we can scale them? We can build in systems so we can create more freedom. And then I love like for you to talk more about the joy and the freedom aspect and how we can integrate that in because I do find as entrepreneurs get higher in their levels of their business, sometimes we lose our joy. And so it was really important to me that you came into this because I want to make sure that people can find that joy back, but
Mhm.
also just like integrate it into all of their lives because that joy, yes, it's joy in our daily lives, but it also provides you so much more freedom to just breathe and live and enjoy like the things that are important to you.
Yes. Yeah. It's so easy
So
to forget. I love that. I love that so much. I just can already feel it. I think it's going to be like a no brainer, something to join. If you're a business owner, a CEO, entrepreneur, creative entrepreneur, like what I felt on that day last year was delight. Like it's something that I pride myself on too, is like delighting people, kind of like blasting their
mhm.
all expectations away. And my expectations were blasted. So I just know you. I know it is an FES. And I think I think it was like a just trust kind of moment. Like you're not sure exactly what's going to happen, but you know it's going to be awesome. Highly recommend getting in on the Be Bold conference for this coming October.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to be so good.
Woo! Okay, and me and my bracelet sister might have another little collab coming. Just stay tuned for that. I'm just planting a seed because we talked about it before. And it's why like my cheeks were numb when we
Mhm.
started the podcast recording because it's like so magical. It's such exciting things. But Jen, I just want to say, like, I just so appreciate you. I so appreciate your light in the world. I think you're absolutely like your branding is so on point. You are like such a bold, beautiful, brave businesswoman. And yeah, I find you so inspiring. I'm just so lucky to get to fly around in our skin cars together. I call it our skin cars, but you know, when you're just like, oh, I'm so lucky that I know you in this lifetime. You know, that's how I
Mhm.
feel.
Yeah. Yep, I
Yeah.
agree, and I feel like the world has brought us together multiple times to the point where like, "You guys, come on, let's go."
Yeah.
So yes, future things are happening, which is very exciting.
Yeah, future things are happening. Okay, well, I'm just absolutely celebrating you. And I'm so grateful that you said yes to coming on the show and can't wait to see what gets to unfold next. Yeah. Thank you for being
Amazing.
here.
Thank you so much for having me.